All right, friends, you know what time it is. Many of our area teams will be burning that midnight oil on the road, but for those who stayed home, they've lined up some hard-hitting matchups that will crank up the tempo pretty fast. Joe and Kayla have who's pressing the gas this Friday night in our game of the week.
Join us as we tailgate under the lights, sponsored by Stokes Hodges Ford.
Alyssa, I'll tell you who's pressing the gas. It's Stokes Hodges Ford, bringing us this beautiful Ford Bronco this week. This is one of the nicest cars I think I've ever seen. Not a big fan of that color scheme. That Auburn Tiger color scheme doesn't really run good for me, neither for you, Kayla, right?
Yeah, as a Georgia girl, these aren't my favorite colors. But, Joe, we've got another exciting week of high school ball. Week 4, what can we expect tonight with these two teams here where we're at? Yeah, week 4, game of the week. We got South Aiken taking on Barnwell. And let's just go ahead and jump into our keys to victory for both teams tonight. Arguably the biggest one for Barnwell, not turning the ball over. That's been something that Coach Brian Smith has been very adamant about when I spoke with him earlier this afternoon. The Warhorses sit at 2-1 on the season, but every game has featured poor ball security. As for South Aiken, it's about capitalizing on those turnovers. The T-Breads offense has pulled most of the load through 3 games, and if they can get a couple of good breaks on defense, they could win the battle of horsepower tonight. A lot of those mistakes can be chalked up to inexperience, as both teams have extremely young rosters, but we've hit week 4, and it's time for those young guys to start playing like veterans.
We've got 3 sophomores starting on the offensive line and a freshman starting on the offensive line, a sophomore running back, sophomore quarterback. So we're really young, and at that first game, I think we learned a ton of stuff.
Our guys are coming along. We're getting better. We have very little experience. You know, we started out and graduated 24 seniors last year, and so we can use that excuse to about this week, and that's about it, because at this point, nobody really cares that you're a sophomore or we're starting a couple of freshmen. Football-wise, you've got experience now. You've got to make sure you play every Friday night.
Now, I tend to agree with Coach Smith on that one, because if you're a young player, you've got to step up. They've gotten 2 wins from those young guys this year for Barnwell, looking to have a big knockoff here tonight against South Aiken. A lot of that inexperience is going to need to come together if they want to have a chance to pull this off, Kayla. Yeah, Joe, and South Carolina isn't the only state with some exciting high school ball tonight. I'm headed over to Georgia to 2 games. I'm headed to Josie as they take on Twiggs County, and ARC as they take on Howard. Both of those teams putting up some impressive scores on the scoreboard, but haven't really been able to bring the win home. So we're really rooting for these 2 local teams tonight to be able to hopefully clinch both of their first victories tonight, Joe. Rooting for all of our local teams. Some of them just happen to be playing others, so we can only watch one winner out of them. But that's going to do it for our Week 4 tailgate of the week at our game of the week. She's Kayla Lopez. I'm Josie Doring. That was a pun. Back to you, Alyssa.
Yeah, you guys can just keep horsing around out there, right? Quarterback Tommy Burns is already at 700 passing yards. He has so many options out there, not just in the air, but on his right hip, usually with Hightower, plus 2 coaches who have been around the game for a very long